Hi everybody, this is Adam McCarthy, and I'm here today to talk to you about my principal and I's discussion about the 4Rs from the KISA framework. We had some pretty interesting results after looking through all four of the rubrics. The ones that we really hit hard were both the rigor rubric as well as the relationships rubric. Being part of the school improvement team, the relevance and responsive culture rubrics, I was a part of the team that worked on both of those in order to determine kind of where our school stands, because right now at Mays Middle School we are in year 0, so we're not really looking at even modeling or transitioning to any of the information that has been described throughout each of these rubrics. We're just kind of finding out where we think we are, and throughout our district we are going to compare our results to the other schools, and then we'll kind of have an overall framework for the district as to where we believe we rest in each of these categories as of right now. But some interesting things that kind of came up is with relationships. We really think that in the teacher and student categories, in the relationships part of the framework, that we are excelling. We're doing the Capturing Kids' Hearts program right now, and that's something I'll talk a little bit about more later as we talk about the PSEL standards. But we've implemented this new program this year, and we really feel like we are doing a great job connecting with the kids, putting relationships first. And so that's something that we're real proud of. And even though, again, we're not in this framework yet, we feel like we're already modeling a lot of the criteria that was part of that rubric. Where we feel like we're kind of struggling is in the rigor category, which was the 4th R of the different rubrics. We noticed in the rigor rubric we had a lot of areas where there were no evidence, and it was specifically in category 4, which was the data category. We're finding out that we have access to all this different type of student data, from like ACT Aspire scores to state assessment scores, but we were really asking each other, like, what are we using this data for? Are we even using this data besides our administration and counselors using it to kind of figure out where they want to place students in certain classes? So that's something that we're kind of looking to focus on for the future, is trying to get out of that no evidence category for a lot of those things in the data part of the rigor rubric. As far as looking at my principal and where I believe his leadership style and approach kind of exists right now, I really think he is a democratic type of leader. I have been working with him now for 5 years, so I know him fairly well, and being involved in all the activities and improvement teams that I am a part of, I've had a lot of one-on-one conversations with him and a lot of time to get to know him, not only on a professional level but also on a personal level. He's the kind of leader who likes to open the floor up to discussion. Whenever there is a new issue that arises in the school, or whenever some debating needs to happen to figure something out, he likes to kind of step back and not all the way laissez-faire, like take his hands off the situation, but he likes to monitor and just see what the staff feels like. But ultimately, the decision is up to him, and that is the kind of leadership style I want from someone I work under, someone who is, yes, going to take into consideration the things that I think are important, but doesn't solely put those decisions on me. He just takes those into consideration when he makes these decisions for us. He's also someone who does a lot for the staff behind the scenes, and a lot of the staff members don't even know about it, taking care of a lot of issues for us without us even being aware of things that go on outside the classroom with parents or with students or things like that. And he's not the kind of person who likes to be thanked for that. He just thinks it's part of his job. So I'm very fortunate to be able to work for an administrator like that in my building. Looking last, trying to incorporate some of these PSEL standards into my method for school improvement. The 3 standards that I was looking at was standard number 10, which states that school improvement, specifically to seek to make schools more effective for each student, teacher, staff, families, and the community. If I'm going to focus hard on that rigor rubric, as I talked about before, that's something that I'm going to have to focus on. Just making that a goal of mine, that we're keeping, what students' best interests are first. And that's why we're focusing on that rigor rubric, why we are going to be evaluating that data more effectively, is because it's to benefit our students and to make our staff more aware of things that are going on. My next one that I was looking at was community of care and support for students. That was PSL standard number 5. And specifically, I was looking at promote adult student, student peer, and school community relationships that value and support academic learning and positive and social emotional development. This step is critical, especially in our relationships standard. While yes, we do think between my principal and I that that is our best standard where we're at right now, but just because it's our best, he still wants to make it a focus, which I thought was very interesting. So the hitting hard, the rigor rubric, as well as the relationships rubric is what we're focusing on there. And lastly was PSEL standard number 1, which says mission, vision, and core values. And specifically there, strategically develop, implement, and evaluate actions to achieve the vision for the school. So if we don't have this kind of rigor and effort while we're looking to improve in these areas, it's not going to benefit anybody. We have to be effective, and we have to really want to look at where can we improve. What can we do differently in order to reach these 2 goals that we have? And my principal also told me that while between the 2 of us, the rigor and relationships were the most important and the ones that we need to continue to improve on as a district overall, we have already decided for year 1 of our implementation of these 5 R's that relationships for the whole district is going to be the focus. So it's good to see that we're aligned, even though that information hasn't already been made public yet. But this was a very insightful discussion with my principal, and yet again another opportunity to get to discuss some higher education, higher learning things with him. So thanks for watching.